really feel like the camera shifted, but it looked okay on the trial run. Welcome to the new book releases for the week of July the 8th. This week is fantasy heavy, but we will have timestamps to let you know the other genres. I'm going to go ahead and preemptively apologize for the names that I can't say or will butcher. If you are new here, this happens regularly, and some words might even be substituted for others without me noticing until editing. I'm Morgan, though. I hope you find something off this list that you enjoy, and let's go ahead and get started. Our first up this week is some romance, and The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. When a very public breakup becomes a PR nightmare for Ian Chase's team, he hopes to focus on his game, but that suddenly seems less likely than a hat trick. With his career and the team's image in jeopardy, Ian is surprised to find a solution through none other than Delilah Baker, his best friend and teammate's little sister, who isn't so little anymore. Delilah Baker is known as the darling of baking on her local cable show, and being in the public eye is her bread and butter. But with her numbers dwindling and her producers turning up the heat, Delilah offers up the half-baked idea to collaborate with her brother's team to entice the hockey fans of Boston to tune into her show. Delilah thinks this will be a piece of cake until the team sends Ian Chase, her brother's best friend and the object of a decades-long crush that she's never quite gotten over. That felt really fast, and I'm sorry, but our AC was down and it just got fixed a few hours ago. So this room is not exactly normal temperature right now, especially with this computers running. Still quite hot. We might talk fast in this one. In Romantasy, though, we will persevere. The Darkness Within Us by Trisha Levenseller. This is a companion novel to The Shadows Between Us. This one, though, is following Chrysanthia Stanthos, and from what I can gather reading the summaries, she's the main character of the original book's older sister? I think so. Correct me in the comments if I am wrong. Please don't hear the computer. I don't know. We'll start our fantasies off with The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. Kalia has always had trouble dealing with people. Thankfully, as a librarian at the Great Library of Elysium, she and her assistant Kaz, a magically sentient spider plant, have spent the last decade sequestered among the Empire's most precious spellbooks, preserving their magic for the city's elite. When a revolution begins and the library goes up in flames, she and Kaz flee with all the spellbooks they can carry and head to a remote island Kalia never thought she'd see again, her childhood home. Then we have The Sky on Fire by Jen Lyons. Anarod lives only for survival, forging her own way through the harsh jungles of the deep with her Titan Drake by her side, even when an adventuring party saves her from capture by a local warlord. But it's no ordinary rescue, it's Anarod's past catching up with her. These cunning misfits and their frustratingly appealing Dragon Rider ringleader intend to spirit her away to the dragon-ruled Sky Cities, where they need her to help steal from the dragon's horde. But of course, there's reasons she can't go back to the cities. Then the sequel to Darkwater Daughter, which is the second in the Winter Seas series? Not sure. This is Black Tide Sun by H.M. Long, and we are following Samuel and Mary after the events of Darkwater Daughter, which I've not read the book. Mary, though, I believe she's called a storm singer, so they have this siren-like ability over the waters, but this means I think they are kept as slaves, if I remember hearing right. And Samuel is a naval officer, and there is romance between the two, obviously. I really want to get to this series. It sounds very intriguing, even if I cannot describe it right here. Another one that I can't describe quite right is The Blood Dim Tide by Stephen Arion. This is book 2 in The Nightingale and the Falcon, which is a historical fantasy, like within our own world, historical type fantasy, supposed to be following one of Genghis Khan's grandchildren, the wife of one of his sons, like one of many wives. She didn't want to be a wife. I think she was a princess of another kingdom that kind of got taken over, and her learning her own power and stuff there. And a warrior that I believe somewhere in India. The first book was The Judas Blossom, which got a lot of praise and it sounded really cool. And unfortunately, my memory has dumped first book descriptions right now of things I haven't read apparently. I'm so sorry, but both of those sequels are coming out this week and I do think they're worth checking out. And then a first book of one of First Book's. Herald, Age of the God Eaters, Book 1 by Rob J. Hayes. This is the first of one trilogy that is coming out, where he wrote 3 trilogies, is writing 3 trilogies, and all of the first books of each trilogy is coming out over the next month. This is the first one. In a few weeks we will have the first of a different trilogy set in this world, and at August we will have the 3rd trilogy beginning. And he's writing all of book 2s together too. 1,000 years ago, humanity's heroes killed God. Now, under the brutal rule of warrior kings, the land of Helicia has fallen into chaos. Demons stalk the deep forests, monsters roam free of their prisons beneath the world vein, and ancient terrors rise again. History is written in blood, but the future will be forged in holy fire. Yeah, I want to read all of these. I have not quite decided the best reading order for them, though. No, I have not figured that part out. I guess we should go, like, if he's releasing this one first, then maybe he wants this one to be read first, and then all of the trilogies take place over a span of 3,000 years. I don't remember if I already said that. We move on, though, into a Peter Pan sort of retelling. These Deathless Shores by P.H. Lowe. Jordan was once a lost boy, convinced she would never grow up. Now, she's 22 and exiled to the real world, still suffering withdrawal from the addictive magic dust of her childhood. With nothing left to lose, Jordan returns to the island and its stories of pirates and war and the heartlessness of youth, intent on facing Peter one last time on her own terms. Even if that makes her a villain, so be it. And one that is kind of mafia sounding. Godfather meets Game of Thrones was one of its things. That is Navala by Paolo Bacigalupi. I'm so sorry for all of that. In Navola, a bustling city-state dominated by a handful of influential families, business is power, and power is everything. For generations, the De Reguli family, merchant bankers with a vast empire, has nurtured tendrils that stretch to the furthest reaches of the known world. And though they claim not to be political, their staggering wealth has bought cities and toppled kingdoms. Soon, Davicio de Reguli will be expected to take the reins of power from his father and demonstrate his mastery of the games of novelist diplomacy, knowing who to trust and who to doubt, and how to read what lies hidden behind a smile. But in Navola, strange and ancient undercurrents lurk behind the guilt and grandeur, like fossilized dragon eye in the family's possession, a potent symbol of their raw power and a talisman that seems to be summoning Davici to act. And for a more cozy fantasy, the Dallergut Dream Department Store by Miley Lee and translated by Sandy Jusen Lee. In a mysterious town hidden in our collective subconscious, there's a department store that sells dreams. Day and night, visitors, both human and animal, shuffle in to purchase their latest adventure. Each floor specializes in a specific type of dream. Childhood memories, food dreams, ice skating, dreams of stardom. Flying dreams are almost always sold out. Some seek dreams of loved ones who have died. For Penny, an enthusiastic new hire, working at Dallergut is an opportunity of a lifetime. As she uncovers the workings of this whimsical world, she bonds with a cast of unforgettable characters, including Dallergut, the flamboyant, wise owner, Baby Nap Rockabye, a famous dream designer, Maxim, a nightmare producer, and the many customers who dream to heal, dream to grow, and dream to flourish. Our sci-fi this week is Toward Eternity by Anton Hur. What does it mean to be human in a world where technology is quickly catching up to biology? In the near future, a new technological therapy is quickly eradicating cancer. The body's cells are entirely replaced by nanites, robot or android cells which not only cure those afflicted but leaves them virtually immortal. Literary researcher Jung Hoon teaches an AI how to understand poetry and creates a living, thinking machine he names Panet, meaning beloved in honor of his husband. When Jung Hoon himself, a recipient of nanotechnology, mysteriously vanishes into thin air and then just as suddenly reappears, the event raises disturbing questions. What happened to Jung Hoon? And though he's returned, is he really himself anymore? Our fiction this week is going to start off with more speculativeness to fit right in with that sci-fi. All This and More by Ping Shepherd. One woman, endless options, every choice has a consequence. Meek, Play It Safe Marsh, has just turned 45 and her life is in shambles. Her career is stagnant, her marriage has imploded, and her teenage daughter grows more distant by the day. Marsh is convinced she's missed her chance at everything: romance, professional fulfillment, and adventure, and is desperate for a do-over. She can't believe her luck when she's selected to be the star of the global sensation All This and More, a show that uses quantum technology to allow contestants the chance to revise their pasts and change their present lives. Then we have The Family Experiment by John Mars. The world's population is soaring, creating overcrowded cities and an economic crisis. And in the UK, the breaking point has arrived. A growing number of people can no longer afford to start families, let alone raise them. But for those desperate to experience parenthood, there is an alternative. For a monthly subscription fee, clients can create a virtual child from scratch who they can access via the metaverse and a VR headset. To launch this initiative, the company behind Virtual Children has created a reality TV show called The Substitute. This will follow 10 couples as they raise a virtual child from birth to the age of 18, but in a condensed 9-month time period. The prize, the right to keep their virtual child, or risk it all for the chance at a real baby. Then our last fiction, I guess it's a more regular sort of fiction. We Carry the Sea in Our Hands by Janie Kim. Abby Rodier was a Dropbox baby, a Korean orphan whose mother could not take care of her and left her as an infant. Abby's tumultuous experience in the American foster care system has led her to live a solitary and guarded life. Closed off to almost everyone except her best friend Isel, whose parents took Abby into their home as a child. Abby's work studying the origins of sea slugs and bacteria leads her to wonder about her birth parents and question her place in this world. It's not long before Abby stumbles upon a biological discovery that will change the course of her life. Meanwhile, Isel's devotion to her ill brother leads to an entanglement between her work as an investigative journalist and the murky world of the black market medicine. In thriller this week, we have On the Surface by Rachel McGuire. Sawyer Stone III and Danny Fox, a young couple who spend their time circumnavigating the globe above their 42-foot sailboat and documenting it for their fledgling YouTube channel, Sailing with the Foxes, have anchored in Exuma in the Bahamas. As they wait for the price of crypto to rebound so they can provision and continue their journey, they're partying and exploring with their fellow cruisers offshore. On the surface, everything looks perfect, but one night, Danny vanishes after a boat party and Sawyer has no memory of her disappearance. And maybe their life isn't so perfect. We shall end on a cozy mystery. Summer's End by Juno Black. This is the 5th in the Shady Hollow mystery series, following a cute little village where all the characters are animals portrayed as peoples. That's not described right. This one, though, is a unique take on dark academia featuring everyone's favorite Vulpine sleuth, Vera Vixen. The whole series has sounded adorable since the first one, and I really, really want to get to it. And I will one day. One day. That's all for this week's list. If there was one that I didn't mention, though, and you think people would like to know about, make sure you drop it in the comments down below. And maybe you found something good off this list that you do want to pick up. You enjoyed this video. I hope you're finding something awesome to read today, though, and I'll see you in the next one.